I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the March 6, 2024 Fitchburg Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission has 7 members. Members are citizens residing in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. The commission is appointed by the City Council and serves on a volunteer basis. The 8 interests of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Fitchburg Wetlands Bylaw. Meetings of this commission are subject to and abide by the open meeting law. If you would like more information about any of these regulations, please ask a commissioner, agent, or environmental consultant. Thank you for your commitment to the conservation of our natural resources. And thank you for your patience as we navigate this hybrid meeting. The commission requests that folks wishing to speak approach the table, speak clearly. Remote attendees maintain microphones on mute for privacy. If you would like to speak, use the chat or raise your hand functions to alert the chair of your intentions. Be advised this public meeting is being recorded and will be posted to Fitchburg Access Television. If a member of the in-person audience is recording this meeting, this is your opportunity to identify yourself for the public record. Now I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Christian.
Here.
Commissioner Donnelly. Commissioner Tantan-Arawat.
Here.
Commissioner Sarfield in attendance. Joyce, jump back on. I don't see him.
Yeah, she's here.
Okay. Commissioner Jacobs.
She has to unmute herself.
Joyce, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, we'll wait to hear from Joyce. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance. I get her to do twice, huh? Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Groundhog Day was February 2nd.
Thank you. And so, as noted, the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissioners had their spring conference on Saturday at Holy Cross. We had 4 commissioners in attendance, myself, Joyce, Brad, and Sean Michael. And we were noted in the opening remarks for having such a high attendance. Also, the National River Watershed Association is having a site visit on March 18th to discuss the municipal vulnerability planning. If you'd like information, this is concerning using nature-based solutions to limit our vulnerability. If you'd like information about that, please get a hold of her, Lynn. We have all of our, the hearing doesn't open without a submittal of complete application, including a butter notices and payment of all fees. All of our items tonight are compliant with that. And so now I'm going to go ahead and open the first hearing under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40. The Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for request for determination of applicability, 112 Westminster Street. And speaking to the request, we have Mr. Betancourt.
I'm Steve Betancourt. I'm the owner and applicant. Determination. After conversation with the building department, they kind of suggested I come in front of you people to see what, what's in store for me over here, if there's any requirements.
So these are all interior.
It's going to be an interior renovation, the exterior too, the siding, roofing, just total renovation of the property. I've done a couple of them. This one here I let go because I took a job in another town and I never got back to it. Now that retirement's coming, I'm going back in it. Crazy enough.
Okay. Let's open the floor for public comment. Would anyone like to speak in favor of or against this hearing, or would like to request more information? Hearing none. From the public, let's turn to the commission. Commissioners, do you have any comments for Mr. de Bettencourt?
I want to thank, through the chair, I want to thank the building department for giving us a heads up that it was going on. But the applicant's intent, and I'll read it, was existing two-family dwelling unit, no new additions, renovations to include framing, siding, insulation, drywall, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, and painting. And I'm inclined to believe that there's no alteration, filling, or dredging of wetland resource. And my inclination is to issue a negative determination.
Okay.
So when the applicant came into our office, he said he was going to demolish the shed.
There's a shed, there's
So
a
this is
garage,
the shed line?
there's 18 feet of it that's gonna be taken
So
off.
this is the shed,
Okay.
and that's why I requested an RDA, because the shed is on,
Yeah, it's on the, it's
it's
right on.
on the river.
So you want,
Removing this,
I'm just hand taking down this one.
and that was my concern.
We're taking that off. It's just gone too far. We're not doing any site work or anything, we're just taking the wood structure off.
So the work description includes demolition, which isn't listed.
Correct.
Correct.
And that demolition is, there you go. I went to a couple sites, I didn't go to that one. But I thought that several of you had been out there. I know Joyce has.
Joyce,
Aren't you, Joyce?
I drove by there and I saw the same exact thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't.
And Sean Michael, you,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
so removing it, what are the plans to prevent any of the rubble or debris getting?
Oh, I'm just gonna throw it all in the dumpster, hand take it down. It's all wood structure.
Piece by piece?
Yeah, piece by piece. I'm not using a piece of equipment. It's all, and that's about it. I'm not quick. I don't mind working.
Well, I have a question. The picture's gone, but there it is. So what about all this granite or whatever that is?
That's all part of the, if you start moving any of that, that's gonna start the siltation. I just wanna take the wooden structure off and just use it for parking. It's not, you start taking any of that, that's right on the rib, that's
So
right.
you're gonna use
on-
it for parking?
Yeah, there's a,
So how are we gonna, so
Yeah,
now
it's-
we need it. I mean, I think I have some questions then, so.
okay.
If you're gonna be parking vehicles there, you're right on the river, you're right on the.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna hold it, we're not gonna be right on top of the river. If you drive in the garage, when that was halfway decent, you could drive right in. I mean, it's no different than parking a car and then, if you took the wood structure off.
Is the garage the concrete structure behind the red building?
Yeah, that's staying.
I want to get an aerial shot of this.
We can just
And we
move
should
that
go
garage door
outside.
backwards.
I mean, we can go out and look at the site. We're gonna have to do some other site visits.
Yeah. I wouldn't discourage that. Yeah.
Hmm?
I agree.
Let's see if there is anything. I think we should go look at it. I mean, if you're gonna be parking stuff, then you're gonna be, what's there to drive on it? Is it already?
It's a cement slab underneath. Cement slab that's there. It's really in rough shape. We just let it go too long.
I drove by and stayed on the British American Club parking lot looking right at it. It certainly is right on the river. And there needs to be some kind of, there's not going to be machinery. It's not going to be done with a backhoe.
No,
Hands
just
up.
taking it down by hand.
And in the back, isn't part of the building all like cinder blocks?
On the back part of the building is
Yeah,
staying. It's just the front section, 18 feet.
So this is the shed back here.
Yeah.
And it's right, what I saw after I went separately, Joyce went, it was just right on, how is it gonna mitigate all the debris? You can't put silt fencing up, you can't put anything.
Yeah, you can't, there's nothing. You just carry it out and throw it in the dumpster.
I wasn't aware of this, but so now I look at a picture and my first thought is the house structure. I don't see it. When we get to this, it's about doing the work with standard, even if we issued a negative, standard plate solutions, silt fence, et cetera. And so the difference between a standard practice and him applying a positive determination is $1,000, right? It probably isn't going to do any different significant safety measures, but $1,000 for the application of $1,500 for the application, whatever the number is. So it's just a money issue, I guess, for me and for him.
Well, I don't know, because we would have an order of conditions if an NOI was submitted.
Well,
Can you?
positive or negative, we'd give her an order, we'd give a boilerplate. All positive or negative, the minimum we'd give is a boilerplate.
Okay.
So I see the difference is money, but he hasn't given us enough right now to give him a decision unless we get out there and take a closer look at it.
So,
So we delay him or we hit him with a full-blown NOI. Either we delay it, go for a site walk, hold back on the decision, or issue an NOI. Right?
there was a motion on the table. Do we need to rescind
Sidewalk.
the motion? We rescind the motion that was on the table. That never got seconded.
Yeah.
The motion wasn't seconded. Okay, so that's gone. The motion wasn't seconded.
Continuation with a sidewalk.
Okay, so your motion is for, to continue to the site walk at 112 Westminster Street. Okay, and thank you. Let's see, all in favor, Commissioner Christian?
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly? Commissioner Tantanarwan?
Aye.
And is Joyce out there? Is
She
she?
said she can't unmute herself.
Oh, okay. All right, so, and I for me, so, let's have a site walk. What day?
Oh, there she is.
Oh,
Hello, okay, I finally got the link. So yes, sidewalk would be acceptable.
okay. Let's see how we're gonna schedule that. We can't do that, let's see, we can't do that this weekend because we won't be able to post it. Next,
Would you guys like for me to coordinate the site walk?
yeah, why don't you? Yes. We can, what do
A
you-
couple of us are going to be out at 9:30 on the 17th. A couple of us are going to be in the field already
On the 17th?
on the 17th.
Okay.
A
So
Gmail has just arrived.
I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'll be in the field on Conservation Commission business on the 17th.
Do you want to do March 17th?
9:30 is booked for me.
Anytime.
Do you want to do March 17th at 11 a.m.?
Or 9. Yeah, I don't mind. I'll do it later if you like. I can do it, yeah.
March 17th at 9 a.m.
I'm good for that. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll have libations.
9 o'clock in the morning?
It's like a major, it's a high holy.
Think that's
I'm surprised they're working at all.
I got a good Irish joke, but I
I
can't.
thought you meant go working at Slattery's.
Okay, so we're continued. That's continued and 317.
We advise the applicant to think about what precautions he'll make, to think about it so he'll have answers when we have questions in that morning. And we can't give him the questions now because we haven't seen the site. You know what's going to come up. You've seen a few. Yeah, I have a couple answers for what your plan is.
Not a problem.
But,
Okay. All right, so moving on. Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for notice of intent Oak Hill Country Club Solar LLC, Oak Hill Country Club, Shea Street. And we're waiting for.
We had a request for continuance by the,
I have a motion and a second to continue this.
Continue.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Commissioner Christian?
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat?
Aye.
Commissioner Sarfield, so continue.
Can I ask who the third-party review entity is?
LLC Environmental.
Again?
LEC Environmental.
LEC.
Thank you. I recognize the name.
Text message.
Okay.
Sorry
Under
about
Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for notice of intent. Aaron Sepola, resubmittal, construction of single-family home, 182 Sheldon Road. Caroline?
We have not heard from the engineer or the applicant, and I would like the commission to consider taking this off the agenda.
We have a motion and a second to remove this from the agenda until further notice. I guess I'd be tabling it, right? Are we gonna
Yes,
table
it would be,
We'll table
it's,
it.
yeah, it's legal.
I think this is gonna take some time. Motion to table. Second.
182 being the White House in the front?
Yes.
102, is that the case?
Yes.
And that was a submittal of an order of conditions?
No, and also,
Notice of intent, right, a reissuance of a new notice of intent. If they're currently in violation of the old notice of intent, courtesy, what courtesy does the Conservation Commission want to extend to the new notice of intent?
Herlin, isn't that currently under peer review?
no, they haven't accepted peer review yet because it is currently under legal.
On 196, but maybe not 182.
182 as well. They're both under legal.
Okay, thank you.
Nice. Yeah. So let's take it off the table. I'll make a motion, let's take it off the table.
I'll second.
Okay. Let's see here. All in favor? Mr. Christian?
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly?
I'm staying on that one.
Commissioner Sarfield, aye. Commissioner Jacobs?
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat?
Aye.
Okay, the motion is tabled. And let's see. Moving forward, under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, the Fitchburg Conservation Commission open the hearing for notice of intent Mad River Solar Holdings LLC ground-mounted solar array 0 Street. What's going on with this one?
The peer review will be wrapping up next week, so the applicant asked for a continuance.
We have a motion and a second for continuance.
Motion to continue.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor, Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Sarfield, aye. Commissioner Jacobs?
I am recused from this project.
Aye. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let the record show Joyce is recused from this project, from this one. Commissioner Tantanarwat?
Aye.
Okay, and, okay, so we're continuing.
And the peer review entity, who's the peer review?
Dillis and Roy. Dillis and Roy.
Thank you. It's, I'm wondering, who chose them? How we choose a third-party review? How does the commission choose a third-party review?
The commission doesn't, the agent does. I do,
Oh, that's how it shows.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I request some proposals and then I submit the numbers to the applicant and then I will choose.
Well, it's in good hands.
Mike, if I can, we asked for Ty and Bond on that project, but they were not available.
That is correct. And Dillis and Roy is using the 2019 plan.
Oh, good. That was the concern, correct, as I recall. That's great. Okay, so under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, the Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for notice of intent, City of Fitchburg, Twin Cities Rail Trail Phase 2. Is this what Nick is here for?
Nick is here, but
Do you have anything?
yes, we have Andrea.
Okay.
Andrea, if you can unmute yourself, if you can hear me.
Hi, yes. Hi, everyone. This is Andrea Kendall with LEC and Marlon Huell as well from Stantec. He's going to be, I guess, running the ship tonight. So if he hasn't already been provided access to screen sharing.
Yeah, he should.
Yes, that just popped up for me. Thank you.
Great.
Sure. So just quick refresher for everyone. I'm Marlon Huell. I'm with Stantec. We're the design firm for this project. As you'll recall, last time we were before the commission, the project was, or the hearing was continued for two reasons. The first was due to us awaiting additional property owner signatures. Unfortunately, the status on that front has not changed, so we're still awaiting those. But the second reason pertained to a Mass DEP comment requesting both the stormwater checklist and associated calculations to be submitted to the commission. We did that yesterday or earlier this week, and happy to go through any of those calculations or the project as a whole. I know it's been relatively short notice to review those items for the commission. But that's kind of where things stand. As far as I mentioned, the checklist has been submitted. We've also submitted a revised stormwater memo, which outlines how this project meets the stormwater standards to the maximum extent practicable, which is the requirement for bike paths and similar pedestrian facilities. And then the calculations in the back, once again, I'm not sure if folks have had a chance to review those or if it's productive for us to go through those at this time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Huell. Let's open the floor for public comment. Would anyone like to speak in favor of or against this hearing or would like to request more information? Please state your name and address for the record up at the table. Hearing none from the public, let's turn to the commission. Do we have any commissioners with questions, comments?
Excuse me, Harlan, Tracy, do I understand that there was a question about some abutters signatures that they were not able to be obtained based on Mass DEP's comment?
I don't think it was based on their comment. I think there's legal issues with an abutter, according to our senior project manager.
Just to clarify, some of the components of the project are occurring on some private properties, and we've submitted to date some signatures and just coordinating further on the others. So because it's these elements are on these properties, they also need to acknowledge the submission of the NOI. It's not because they're technically in a butter.
So then I would recommend that we continue until those acknowledgements have been received.
Okay. Is that a motion, Joyce? Is there a
Yes,
motion?
a motion to continue until legal matters and signatures of abutters have been received.
Do we have a second?
7 minutes, that's it.
Just want to make sure I heard that. So she's saying to continue until we get full signatures from all butters?
Is that what you're saying, Joyce? Can you repeat that, Joyce?
They're asking for some legal issues that are being resolved and some signatures from the abutters, Sean Michael. So I would not recommend going forward with an order of condition until some other legal issues that are withstanding right now have been resolved.
We agree with that. However, if the commission is amenable, we'd like to continue to the next public hearing just to keep our options open as we continue these discussions.
Next public hearing being planning or zoning?
No, for Conservation Commission.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, I would be amenable to that if they have additional information or additional NOI to present. We could look at that because it's a separate from what was been presented so far.
We have a motion on the table to continue this to the April meeting.
Motion to continue.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Let's call the roll. All in favor, Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly, Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Commissioner Sarfield, aye. So the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Andrea and Martin. Thank you for your.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. So moving forward here, just barely. Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, the Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for notice of intent, Brennan Industries Incorporated, construction of single-family home, 28 Goodfellow Drive. Okay, the chair acknowledges Mr. Cleves. He's going to speak to us about how this will meet some performance standards.
Well, good evening. My name is Anthony Cleves. I'm with Haley Ward here on behalf of Brennan Industries. So we're here for a single-family house lot, 28 Goodfellow Drive. Some of you may recall this subdivision was approved, see back 2003, 4, 5, something like that. It was a Mount Elam Peak.
2004.
So it was 2004, Capital Realty. So as part of that approval, we had permitted the subdivision road and all of the lots as part of the order of conditions at that time. Since then, I think all the lots have been built on the road. This was the last lot to be built on, but that order of conditions has since expired. So thus before the commission to get a new order of conditions for that lot. So reflagged the wetlands. They were pretty much very similar to what they were before. I think we flagged them a little larger than they were last time around. We're situating the house very similar to how it was intended on the subdivision plans, up close to the road. to keep it as far away from the wetlands as possible. So you may see on the plans, if you have them in front of you or remotely, about half the house lies in the buffer zone, where we have no proposed work within the no disturbance or the no build zone. We're about, the house is about 65 feet away from the wetlands. The limit of disturbance is about 35 feet from the wetlands, staying consistent with the area that was proposed to be disturbed as part of the original subdivision approval. Previous. Water and sewer connections going to connect into the utilities that are in Goodfellow Drive. Services stubs were left for this lot when they constructed the road, so shouldn't have to go into the roadway. I believe what we're understanding is they're stubbed off beyond the berm, so we can hopefully tie into that. Heavy erosion control, that's the red line there in the color plan, kind of going around the back. Proposing straw wattles and silt fence to protect the area during construction. Didn't restore anything disturbed with loam and seed. So that's a quick overview for you, if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cleves. Let's open the floor for public comment. Would anyone like to speak in favor of? Okay. Or against this hearing, or would like to request more information? Please state your name and address for the record.
Jim McNamara, 10 Goodfellow Drive.
Go ahead, sir.
Can I speak from here, or do you want me to come up?
Can everybody hear Mr. McNamara?
I can speak from, sorry, no.
You can share.
Madam Chairman, committee members, my name is Jim McNamara, and I own the abutting property at 10 Goodfellow Drive. I'm here today to request that no changes be made within the wetlands or the buffer zone, and the application before the committee be denied. By way of background, so I looked at purchasing the subject property before buying 10 Goodfellow. When I learned that there were wetlands and a 100-foot wetlands buffer zone covering most of the property, I decided not to buy it. At the time, I had been told that no activity could take place within a buffer zone, so I decided to take a pass. I was obviously misinformed, otherwise I would not be here today. In any event, I was then fortunate to have 10 Goodfellow become available, so I purchased. When doing the site work for my house, we ran into running water 4 to 6 feet below grade, and we had to stop digging the cellar hole. It's the reason why my house sits so high on the property. I also wanted to remind the committee that an issue concerning the wetlands behind 38 Turkey Hill Road came before this committee a few years ago when you were at the airport. And after an analysis of the listed wetlands by a wetlands biologist, they discovered that the wetlands no longer existed because the construction of Turkey Hill Road had stopped the flow of water. I believe this is likely the reason why the properties on my side of the road, on my side of Turkey Hill, have so much water. You can see the water coming off the property into the street for days or a week after it rains. Yet on the other side of the street, there's no water visible at all. So consequently, I spent a considerable amount of time and money to make sure that my cellar would be dry. I installed perimeter drains as is custom, but I also installed drains under my cellar floor that run to a sump pump, which runs regularly. I also had to have spray foam insulation put under my slab to prevent water infiltration. This has left me with a perfectly dry cellar. However, I have significant concerns that any activity on the subject property will adversely affect my property and my cellar. I ask that you do not permit work in the wetlands or the buffer zone. I'm concerned about the water shifting, the water rising. They have to use a pneumatic hammer to break up granite or perhaps dynamite. I think all of those are going to be problems. However, if unfortunately you do decide to allow the work to continue, I ask that you require 2 orders of conditions. One, that the current and subsequent owners indemnify me via a deed covenant for any ground or subsurface water problems on my property or within my house, meaning the cellar. And 2, that the owner and the contractors comply with all of the conditions of the declaration of restricted covenants that attach to the deed for this property, which includes the prohibition on cutting trees within the 15-foot setback. So basically, they need to measure 15 feet from the sidelines and no trees can be cut within that area. I think this is critical, as the more trees that are cut down, the more water will end up on the neighboring properties, including mine. I also want to just remind the committee that they're, and the applicant, that there are also design standards and construction-based restrictions that must be met. Finally, thank you for allowing me to speak, and I respectfully ask for your consideration in making the final decision. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for waiting so patiently, Mr. McNamara.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. McNamara or comment? No one else, okay. I mean, moving forward, hearing no more from the public, thank you, Mr. McNamara. Let's turn to the commission. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. We do have another one. Patricia Lanky at 32 Goodfellow Drive has sent the following email to Herlin. Hi, Herlin. To follow up on my messages past week, I'm sending in my concerns for tonight's meeting regarding the notice of intent under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act pertaining to applicants requesting permission to alter a wetland on Goodfellow Road in Fitchburg. This area is high traffic for wildlife as the power lines are right behind us. We have seen multiple wildlife living and traveling here, from 3 bobcats that lived in this area for over 3 years, along with other animals ranging from deers, bears, fisher cats, coyotes, and smaller animals. The wetlands that are located on this road support our wildlife and vegetation and are supposed to provide area for water to flow, preventing flooding into abutting yards and roadways. Currently, we see experienced water flowing into the intersection of Turkey Hill and Goodfellow. If any additional wetlands are filled in and removed, we are concerned about further negative impacts to the road and surrounding yards. Best regards, Patricia Lanky, 32 Goodfellow Drive. So now moving on to the commission. Any comments?
Could I
Madam
entertain
Chair,
Yes.
I was wondering if I could speak on this. This is, for the record, Nicholas Erickson, Commissioner of Public Works, City of Fitchburg. I just wanted to mention that I agree with Mr. McNamara and Ms. Lanky that there is a substantial amount of water in that general area of Mount Elam Road. The wetlands there are critical to make sure that private properties aren't impacted by floods. And separate, kind of a tangential issue that if this project does move forward, that I think Mr. Cleve should be aware of, is that that force main that handles the wastewater flows from the neighborhood is, it's been problematic in the past. So please reach out to DPW Engineering and or Wastewater Division to make sure that it has the capacity to handle another house. I know that Miss Lanky's house several years ago had an issue with the force main and her whole basement filled with raw sewage from the entire neighborhood. So that's not exactly something that you want a failure to happen on right next to a wetland. So just a word of caution there with tying into that force main.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Hey,
Yes, you may.
54 years ago, there was a 100-acre farm, and it consisted of this particular lot in that neighborhood. And the farmer was in jeopardy of losing it to non-payment of taxes. He stripped a 100-acre farm of topsoil and sold it to pay taxes. And the following year, he was under the same threat of losing it. It went to foreclosure. Prior to foreclosure or at foreclosure, it was purchased, subdivided without the benefit of any topsoil on a 100-acre farm. And that's the entire development that we're talking about here. So the wetland that we're talking about, I walked, and what you've got, it was a good wetland flagging, but there's an awful lot of mountain laurel, and that's facultative. And where that was growing was, there was a wetland pre-existing, and it was all mucked up, and the little knolls are supporting the mountain laurel, and the depressions are supporting wetland soil. What it does really alter the groundwater, taking farmland could have been a foot or two of subsoil. It really affected groundwater, so the groundwater is right there and the wetland showing it, and just knolls of upland vegetation. That's all outside of the development, and it's clearly denoted on the plan there. So the biggest concern I have is what anyone would have is when they go into the ground, and in that whole area, when they go into the ground, they find that they cannot go deep as what they wanted, a full basement. If you want water in your basement, you're guaranteed it by putting a full basement in. So what happened is, and I shared at the last meeting with the developer, is that no elevations indicate post-construction. And that's significant because when they find out that they can't have a full basement, the solution is to bring it up. When they bring it up, they change the topography and to allow for the house to construct, but we get a lot of other drainage issues and water issues on abutting properties, and that will end there. I'm the recipient of 100% of that wetland. Stop right through my yard. I don't see it increasing, but who knows? The plan that I see in front of me, if I'm to believe that the dotted line is the 15-foot setback, and it would appear that it's pretty dang close, given you 30-foot from the driveway to the lot line to the east. If I'm to believe that that dotted line is the 15-foot setback, that's comes to my attention that it's not a CONSCOM issue other than the vegetation being taken down. And even there, it's outside of our jurisdiction. But it is not a planning board or a zoning board issue. I'm told that it's a civil issue. So the covenants that apply to this particular lot, and there are many, and they were articulated by Mr. McNamara. They're significant and enough to, if we were to go out there and take a look, to consider them along the way. While we won't enforce them, they're there for a reason. And if it's going to affect the wetlands, we ought to be aware of. It's a protection that we can afford ourselves without a lot of buffer zone inclusion. But the plan as submitted is probably allowable outside of the no disturbed, outside of the wetland, within the buffer zone. So we do have jurisdiction. So thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any other commissioners that would like to comment?
I just have a question on one of your earlier comments. You said back in 2004, it was, or they've extended the 100-foot buffer zone since it was originally in 2004.
No, yeah, so when our recent delineation, the wetlands are expanded a little bit compared to the original back in 2004.
It's going on for 20 years.
Yeah, so we just flagged them this year. So that's why I was just mentioning that it got a little bit wider at the top, basically, from what it was before. But we just delineated them again. I just was making that point in case you were comparing plans from back in 2004.
The current wetlands that exist, they're taking more water than they did in the past because of the development, the roadway and the houses. So they're just the recipients of more water and a bigger wetland footprint.
Not just the wetlands, it's flowing from my property, arguably from the subject property towards Turkey Hill Road. There's just a lot of flow of water. And we discovered that, like you were saying, we had to stop digging the cellar because there was active water flowing 4 feet, 6 feet below the surface.
I can give you 3, 4, 5 similar circumstances as well. Yeah.
I have a couple questions for you. You mentioned vernal pools. Where are those? Were there vernal pools mentioned in this one? Or was it the other one that had the vernal pools? No vernal pools? Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry about that. Outstanding resource water. Is there surface water quality standards that are in need here? Okay. What's the proximity to the bird sanctuary? Was there a bird sanctuary? Is this by Cogs Hall? Or am I getting two of them confused? I'm confused. Okay. Hold on then. Oh, here's my next question. Why wasn't it built in 2004?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it because it was so wet?
I don't know. We weren't involved in the construction. I don't know if, the developer started selling lots off. I mean, I believe this lot has changed hands a couple times. I don't know the history on why people haven't been.
I see down here, it says that you're daylighting
Yes.
sump pump discharge.
Yep. That's the foundation drain, yeah.
Okay. So that just means it's gonna come out of the ground back here? Is that what?
Yep, yeah, so as required with the building code, you need a foundation drain around all houses. And so do not have the pipe go right up against the wetland. It's gonna need to have a sump pump inside to mechanically rise the water from the basement up to an elevation that'll flow by gravity out the foundation drain. Just the way the grades of the site are, if we were to try and do it by gravity the whole way, we'd be within the no disturbance zone, and we didn't want to do that.
And then lastly, this, what are we gonna put here to delineate this border to keep the potential homeowners from, creeping into the wetland? We see that all the time.
Yeah, man, and open to discussion. I think as we're continuing to have project before the commission, we want to do what you folks is what's best. I think that the posts with the signs, we're seeing that a lot more in many other communities too. It's a means of providing information, not just, something to see visually, but it's also providing some information that, hey, this is a protected area. We have no issue with putting in the 4x4 posts with some signs. One thing, if that's what the commissioner would like us to do, if there's any flexibility on the style of sign, I believe some are bright red Fitchburg colors. I didn't know a lot of communities have like more environmentally friendly, like green and white. Or if there's
I just ordered 100 of those. They're pretty pricey, actually. But we can work with our vendor if the applicant is willing to absorb the cost. We can design one to their likings. If the commission is open to that, I as the agent, I'm totally open to that. If you don't want to use one of our signs, if you provide me some sort of proposal and we can approve it.
Yeah, if it's possible, we'd like to entertain that if possible. But again, with no issue with having some kind of demarcation, and it makes sense, I think, with a sign, because that's providing some information.
Lastly, did you do any soil boring or testing? Have you done anything to test where the groundwater is?
No, we haven't dug any holes or anything out there. But I mean, like many houses, Massachusetts isn't a sand pit. The state soil is a Paxton sea soil. There's groundwater everywhere, and so anytime you dig a hole, there's going to be groundwater. So, and then that's when you have some drains and you put that into it to alleviate that.
All right, do we want to schedule a site visit? Do you have a question?
I got an answer and a couple of questions. One answer is one lot has to be last. So this is number 16 of a 16 lot subdivision. And maybe it's got more constraints than the other lots because I haven't seen a lot of the other lots come before us. So it had more constraints. It was, I'm not gonna say less desirable lot, but maybe it was. And that was an answer to your question. Now, question to you. So without having done any borings, you don't know where the groundwater is that you could engineer on the plan. Therefore, an elevation, you can't establish a finished elevation at this point.
No, like we can still, we have elevations on there. Yeah, that's I have a basement elevation on there. Will it be in the groundwater?
Regardless of the water table.
You made a good point. Sometimes you get the construction if you hit ledge.
I'm not gonna say it's unique. It's not unique to that neighborhood. That's all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's consistent with the neighborhood. And then my other big question, and this isn't a fly in the ointment, are we in the Lemonster watershed? We in the Lemonster watershed?
Yes, I believe it.
So there's a watershed known as the city of Fitchburg. That's the question whether it applies the Leominster watershed.
We're located in the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. I listed that on the plans, but it doesn't require any additional permitting.
And then we've never been asked to indemnify an abutter, to hold them responsible for flooding after the fact. I'm not sure that we can.
So that's that would be part of my question. We have let other lots go. He's not in the do not disturb, do not build. We have houses all the time in the buffer. So there's the potential it could be a water problem, but is that our ballgame? Is that up to us?
That is, and it's a judgment call. We have to be convinced by the applicant that it isn't going to cause substantial next door. Yeah. I did have another question. I know. Keep going. It'll come to me.
No, that's.
No, yeah, it's within the buffer zone, and we have to be assured that it won't cause in terms of holding us accountable after the fact. We haven't dealt with that. I know that would take some research. We definitely. Oh, I know what the question was, Anthony. The stone wall. It appears to be the limit of work. It's not listed on your plan. The stone wall appears to be the limit of work. You know what I'm talking about.
There's a stone
It's
wall.
just ahead of the wetland flag. Yep. There's a stake in the ground, the first stake for a wetland.
It's right here.
And just ahead of that,
Yeah.
there's a,
We do show a stone wall on the plans. If that's the one you're talking about.
that's it.
I know those various remnants.
No. It goes right across.
That's the right one.
Yeah, it goes right across. Yeah, it goes right across. And actually, could have that. So that's not the dotted line. The dotted line is well ahead of the stone wall.
That's the dotted line was for the erosion control. And I'm hoping maybe the site walk, I hope will be important for everyone to kind of understand the property too. Our property in the wetlands are lower than the surrounding lots as well. The wetlands in the back of the house, maybe 6 to 8 feet lower than some of the other houses around it. And so the water from this lot will continue to drain as it does now out the back. It's everything kind of this lot and probably some of the lots on the side of it kind of funnel out to the back to that wetland system. The driveway would go it grades up to the garage, so the front yard would drain out to Goodfellow, to the stormwater system there, which was part of the subdivision and is designed for this subdivision. I think a site walk will be a really good part, definitely on this particular project, to kind of help visualize all of these comments.
Happy to make a motion to continue the hearing after a site visit.
Do we have a second?
You guys schedule the site visit on the 17th. That's this Monday. I don't know if Mr. Cleves is available, but if you're already out for 2 sidewalks.
We have 9:30 and 9 o'clock. What was the other one?
I don't know what Mike was doing at 9:30.
Oh, we're meeting Dr. Baker.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, we, 8:30, is 8:30 okay for everybody? 8:30 at this site?
St. Patty's Day? Yeah. Yeah, we'll take.
Day after
yeah,
St.
it's,
Patrick's Day.
It's right there. Get your questions up because everything's right in your face, development and wetland. And it's easy walking.
8:30.
17th, we shouldn't get too much more vegetation. We got a lot of rain, but I don't know if we're gonna get any leaf out.
Send out
Yes.
something.
Can we just make a note that all these sidewalks are weather permitting?
Yes, can you add to your motion, Commissioner Donnelly, these sidewalks are weather permitting? I know
Who's the
you're a
Conservation
deputy.
Commission. Well, snow,
You're a deputy. I just think we need-
that's an easy walk, just to let you know. And so is Worcester Street or Wachusett Street. That's an easy walk. Even with snow, both of them are easy to. No, that's your question. You can amend mine, but I'm not gonna change it.
We have a motion and a second. In favor to continue this after the site walk? Commissioner Christian? Commissioner Donnelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Aye.
Commissioner Tantaroa? And Commissioner Sheffield, aye. So the motion passes. We'll be there at 8:30 on March 17th.
Great, thank you very much for your time, appreciate it.
Okay. So now we've got, under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 13, Section 40, the Fitchburg Conservation Commission will open the hearing for Garrett Patterson,
Is virtually disappeared.
two-family dwelling, 481 Mechanic Street, construction of two-unit dwelling. Is this the one with the verticals? One of these had verticals checked off.
Hi, Garrett, can you hear us? It's very cut up. I can't hear you properly. Can you hear us? Garrett, is there anybody else? Scott, can you hear us? There we go.
Me. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, thank you. I'm Scott Jordan from Ecotech. I'm representing Mr. Patterson tonight. Were you folks, did you folks have the plan to share? Would you like me to share a plan?
You can share it.
Okay. All right. I am new to this particular go-to site. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Does everybody have their plan in hand? I think everybody has them here in hand.
Oh, fantastic. That would be helpful. I'm not seeing the share, sorry. Okay, if that's the case. So start out with a brief description of the property. Ecotech delineated the wetlands on this property last July. Delineated a bordering vegetative wetland in the eastern rear portion of the site, associated with an intermittent stream, typical red maple swamp. As you can see, the buffer zone for the wetland runs sort of right bisects the middle of the house. So the proposal is it's actually a duplex within the buffer zone. Includes parking area and grading, a deck within the buffer zone. There's relatively little grading proposed. As you can see, the proposal's tucked up to the west as much as possible. We're staying off the steep slopes around the rear perimeter of the site, so we're not grading there. There'll be a walkout out back. So the sill elevation's a couple feet above grade in the front and 6 or 8 feet above grade in the back. Again, fairly minor grading. We do have of course, an erosion control barrier at the limit of work. And we have a stabilized construction entrance proposed out front, tire scrubber. and a temporary stockpile area, if necessary, will be contained within the erosion control barrier. That's a fairly simple project in the outer half of the buffer zone. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Let's open the floor for public comment. Is there anyone like to speak in favor of or against this hearing or would like to request more information? There's no one in attendance in person. Is there anyone on Zoom or on the webinar?
Madam Chair, Nick Erickson here. I was just wondering if the applicant could explain where the roof runoff, driveway runoff, and foundation drain are going to discharge.
The driveway is pitched slightly to drain towards the back of the property. The footing drain will also pitch towards the rear of the property, towards the wetland.
Okay, how about
all drainage should be, excuse me?
How about the roof runoff, same as the foundation drain, pitched towards the back?
Yes, everything is slightly pitched towards the back. The project is 19,000 square feet of development, so it does not trigger stormwater management bylaw. But it is pitched to drain towards the wetland, towards the resource area where it drains now. So there's no change in the drainage patterns of the site. The site is sloping to the southwest in existing condition towards the wetland to the rear.
Commissioner Erickson, do you have any more?
Nope, that's it. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Erickson, are they exempt from the local stormwater bylaw that we have?
Technically, there's some language in there by which we could require a little bit more than just, saying we're under the 20,000 square feet, so it doesn't trigger a stormwater management permit. Typically, we reserve those requests for situations where we anticipate construction to impact flooding off-site or impact some other resource area in a negative way. In this case, where it's pitched towards a wetland that can certainly handle the runoff, and it's not potentially posing a flooding risk to roadways or adjacent properties or anything like that. I don't think we need to go down that road.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
So, do you have any comments? Excuse me?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I have a question when you're ready.
Okay, we're hearing no more from the, let's move to the commissioners. Who had their hand up first? Who'd like to go first? Joyce, go ahead.
Scott, I have a couple of questions. Are these rental units or are they going to be sold units? That's like, say, condos.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do not know the answer to that. I'm not sure if the applicant was available to log in remotely or not. He said he was going to try. I don't know if you see any hands up, but I'm sorry, I don't know the answer.
Okay, at some point, I would like that question answered if you could, please.
Okay.
And all 4 parking spaces are in the rear of the property within the buffer. Is there any mitigation planned for any hazardous waste that runoff that could be deposited from that driveway? Or is it possible that the parking spaces could be moved to the front?
The only way to move the parking spaces to the front is to shift the development rearward towards the wetland.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Patterson?
Can you guys hear me at all or no?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Patterson.
Okay, yeah, this is Garrett Patterson. Anyway, yeah, so, to answer your question, the building is for me and my mother to live in. She's an elderly woman, and I just want to make sure she has a solid place to live. So I'll be living upstairs, and she would be living downstairs, essentially.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patterson, for answering that. Can we, if the parking spaces need to stay where they are, can we include in the plan berms or buffers? I know that creates issues with plowing, but when you're well within the 100-foot buffer, there's fluids that come from vehicles that could, and then when you look at the elevations, everything runs down that hill. So I don't know if that's able to be modified at all. Scott, if you could take a look at that.
We can touch base with the project engineer and see if they have any thoughts on that. I know, again, it did not trigger stormwater management, but we could discuss that with him. Just so you folks know, as of a couple of hours ago, we do not have a file number, so we will be continuing. So we're happy to take all these questions, and we'll be coming back.
I think if we can add this while we're out with sidewalks, I was there on Sunday, not on the property, but looked at it from the old gas station that was there. It's an odd development, so I think we should take a look at it if the other commissioners agree.
Commissioner Donnelly.
I met Mr. Patterson several hours ago. I was well received. The commission will have their share of questions on a site walk, and I think that's it's a good idea if we head out there and take a look at the site before, and you'll formulate plenty of questions on site.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with Commissioner Donnelly.
Commissioner Christian?
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at this.
Any other, Commissioner Tantino?
No, I stopped by today and I met Mr. Peterson today as well. I'd be happy to do another site walk with the group.
Brad, do you have any comments or any questions? You're welcome to chime in if you have questions. This is how you learn it.
I think the sidewalk would be good.
Okay, good. So we're at 8:30 on the sidewalk. Yeah, let's meet here.
You're busy in between, right?
He's busy after 9.
Yeah, it's 9:30. So, yeah, we're meeting, we have a 9:30.
Oh, yeah,
So-
okay. Can we do noon?
How about 8 o'clock?
Oh, we can do that too, yeah.
8 o'clock, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. Madam
Okay.
Chair, what's the date of this site walk? I'm sorry.
March 17th.
17th.
Yes,
And I'll send you a calendar invite.
you'll hear from Herlin about it. Can we have a motion to continue?
Motion to continue
Second.
to a site walk on March 17th at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Do we have a second? All in favor? Commissioner Christian?
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly? Commissioner Jacobs?
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanaro, aye. Commissioner Sarfield, approved. Motion passes. Continue to a site visit. Okay.
We'll see you guys on March 17th.
And if I may, what would be the date of the next hearing?
April, bear with me, please. Wednesday, April 3rd.
Yeah, April 3rd.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay. So, do we still have, is Nick still on the call?
Yep, I'm still here.
Nick, I had a question for you, since we're moving into other business. On the forest cutting plans, as I recall, with my memory, was that you wanted to see some of these cutting plans because of the trucks carrying the logs on the bridges. Is that something
That's correct, and that's one of the issues that we've had in the city in the past, where we have bridge postings, and there's some of these forest cuttings that are happening, and log trucks are pretty heavy. They're one of the heaviest vehicles that exist on a roadway, and a lot of times they violate the bridge postings with these cuttings. And I think the Westminster Hill Road Bridge in particular was one of the issues that was brought up. Central Mass Tree had proposed the cutting, and the route that they were going to take to haul logs off the site was over Westminster Hill Road Bridge. And that was problematic because there's no way that their trucks would have met that posting. So I think inherently, if they went ahead with that cutting, they were violating the bridge posting, which obviously is putting the city at some sort of a liability.
Okay, thank you, Nick. So even if you could just make sure Nick gets those as soon as you get them.
Yeah, so the last one we got was just the phase out. They followed it up. But I think that whenever we get the plans, meeting materials are also sent to DPW.
Okay. Oh, good. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, and that's kind of a new thing for us. So obviously, we're going to have to develop some sort of a workflow by which, maybe Herlin, you can send us the plans, and then we make sure that someone in engineering is assigned to review that plan and submit comments within a certain time period. And we can kind of refine that workflow as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
So now we have, moving forward, a certificate of compliance, 155-469 Bridle Crossing, 48 Belgium Way, site visit inspection. Oh, here we go. 48 Belgium Way. Sorry, that was my notes. We have any, what's going on with that? Is that someone on the line for that? Who's Tammy Norman?
That's Normandy Group.
Okay.
I don't think that's for this. Okay. This was Johnson Hooper. This was a development that happened way before my time. It was, I think it was issued in 2004. And I drove by the development. It's there, but to issue the certificate of compliance, I mean, it's already developed. There's multiple housing units in that cul-de-sac. It's part of Bridle Crossing. It looks fine to me. It doesn't look like, but
So,
it's also from 2004.
Well, on the form here, I just want to note, it says, did the order of conditions for this project or the portion of the project subject to this request contain an approval of any plan stamped by a registered professional engineer, architect, landscape architect, or land surveyor? Yes. And then it says, if yes, attach a written statement by such a professional certifying substantial compliance with the plans. Let me repeat that, certifying substantial compliance with the plans and describing what deviation, if any, exists from the plans approved in the order. And so we do have this lovely letter from Johnson and Hooper, an attorney, but it is not answering any of the requested materials here. A written statement by such a professional certifying substantial compliance with the plans and describing what deviation, if any, exists from the plans. So we don't have that.
We don't, and I did ask her about this, and a little back and forth because she was under the impression that it, specifically the verbiage that contains an approval of any plan stamped by a registered professional, period. So it's a comma. We're not going to go into that, but her statement was the development was made a long time ago. The person who sold the property should have had the certificate of compliance issued. Now her client, who has a deceased parent, is trying to sell the property. Why is this being so difficult? And I just said, it's a process. that has to happen, unfortunately, whether it's by the developer or the property owner, it has to be issued. Yeah.
It's an age-old thing, happens too often, more often than not. So two answers. One is do we have on file the order of conditions? They don't go away. 2004 was yesterday. We have the plan, and if we don't have the plan, I have a solution to this, but if we have it, then we could do a site walk. I could go see if it was compliant, as could you, Harlan. And secondly, the burden's on the applicant. So what they have to do is to certify to us that the order of conditions have been met. So we could find the order of conditions on our own and do due diligence, or we could put it back on the applicant to show us that they have complied with the order of conditions.
Yeah,
So one way or the other, the order of conditions is going to come up.
I went on the sidewalk with the order of conditions.
Oh.
When I went to view the property, that's why I said everything looked fine to me.
Okay, but according to the form right here, that is our paperwork, and I don't want to be a stickler for the paperwork, but they
Fill out the
They
form.
checked out the form, it said yes, and then didn't provide what was on the form to provide, which is really outside of anything we do. It means it's not complete, that this application or the certificate of compliance isn't complete.
Motion to authorize Harlan to sign the form when it comes in, she having inspected it and us having given her duly authority to do that. So they fill out the form and get it to Harlan and she can handle it.
No, the form is here.
Just filled that incorrectly is what.
Yes, the form is right in your packet.
That's what Mike is saying.
Yeah.
So if she submits a new form with the correct check off,
Well, I mean, is this the correct?
I don't think
checkup, or
so.
is it- oh,
we had
okay.
the back and forth, and she was under the impression that as long as it were stamped,
Oh, I see, now I understand.
she thought it said period. Like she understood this to be period, not architect, landscape, or this.
Harlan, do we know how many orders of condition have been issued on Bridle Crossing so far? I mean, that's kind of a crazy question, but
I think we've issued a significant amount of certificate of compliances for this. There's only one order of conditions for the whole
right, for the
lot.
whole project. So if that's the case, and we didn't find anything with the majority of the houses, or any of the houses, I would be willing to go ahead and let them have their certificate of compliance.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying, Joyce, but we have paperwork in front of us that was submitted that's incomplete.
Okay, so let them complete the paperwork. And if, if 90% of the project has already been issued certificates of compliance, meaning that the development was done properly, I think we should be able to move forward once we get the right documentation.
I don't want to muddy the water. I'm all for issuing it if it appears to the naked eye to comply. But I bring to the CONSCOM's attention that Mass DEP took over with a violation of an intermittent stream, a violation in the project. And we may have lost jurisdiction anyway.
Okay, well, we need to figure that, well, I don't know that matters.
Well,
Because,
they'd be issuing the certificate of compliance, not us.
okay, well, but even so, the paperwork that triggers that certificate of compliance issuance is not complete.
Well, it's just
The letter
important,
here
you say
is
it's the lack of the proper form.
No, I'm saying it's not complete.
It wasn't certified by an engineer.
Well, the form states, attach a written statement by such a professional certifying substantial compliance with the plans and describing what deviation, comma, if any, comma, exists from the plans approved in the order. That's my take on this, is that all we have here is attached is a letter from an attorney. And it doesn't say registered professional engineer, architect, landscape architect, or land surveyor. Attorney is not on that list. So what we have here is a letter from an attorney. I attached, but the paperwork clearly states that the order of conditions for this project, comma, or the portion of the project subject to this request, comma, contain an approval of any plan stamped by a registered professional engineer, comma, architect, comma, landscape architect, comma, or land surveyor. Yes was checked. And it says, if yes, attach a written statement by such a professional certifying substantial compliance with the plans and describing what deviation, if any, exists from the plans approved in the order. So I'm just saying this was incomplete, it was submitted incomplete.
And the back and forth that I had with the applicant is that she was under the impression that the question was asking her, was the order of conditions approved with a stamped plan, which it was.
Pre-construction, not post-construction.
Pre-construction,
Right.
She
There was no as-built plan submitted.
She didn't, so it's the context behind that. And I totally understand where you're coming from because she checked off yes. She could have easily written, there were no plans, there were no deviations to the plans approved in the order of conditions, and she didn't. So.
Okay, so were there deviations from the plans?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay, then.
And as I recall, the housing lots were not order of condition items, but rather the roadway accessing the houses.
This end up at DEP.
There was a violation, somebody turned over a stone. There was a violation of intermittent stream that may not have been identified on the original plan. Don't hold me to that. It was 2004, like I said. So that's what I'm saying. They could have it, or it could be within ours. But if you want to put it behind you, and if Herlin had the order of conditions and she looked and she saw no discrepancies or that they were satisfied, then the proper paperwork issued to us, we have something to sign. And as I said, Herlin did the inspection, therefore we don't have to. And if they submitted the proper paperwork, which is a sheet of paper requesting a certificate of compliance, Herlin, I'd like to hear to sign it and be done with it. Move on.
Exactly the same. The lots. I think if they were different styles of homes in the same development, I would be a little bit hesitant. But because of the way the development is made, I can show you here.
I know they didn't come for any changes.
Okay.
Could the applicant not just resubmit this and check no?
No, that's pre-construction. She did the right thing.
Oh, so.
Her check on yes was, yeah, we had a plan.
So.
And yes, it was certified. We certified it as an order of conditions. So she said, yeah, we had a plan. You certified it. All set. Now the question is did she follow it? That's not addressed.
Yeah, it's right over.
I believe Tracy was using that as, she addressed it without any documentation. She just responded, yeah, I had a plan. And now we have to say, did you follow the plan? Did you follow the plan?
That's what verifies that, yes.
No, she submitted, an engineer signed off on it, post-construction.
If you feel like you want to go, I
No,
can.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I was reading it a different way.
No, what, Tracy?
I'm just trying to do it a different way.
Yeah. That's, I think she did that. No, I think all it is right now is semantics, is put it on a piece of paper that we have in the office in the file electronically, request for a certificate of compliance. Request for a certificate of compliance on a piece of paper. What's that? Right there. That's what it is right there. We did it. Again, I just want Herlin to be able to sign off on it, and we trust. She's our engineer. She's our resident engineer. She did our inspection for us.
And,
We did well there, but at 7:30, boys.
So I just was reading it my own way for the contextualization. Can we have a motion and a second to a
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
partial? Michael, it needs to be a partial certificate of compliance.
Yeah, because this is a development, right?
Can we do a blanket? And record it, and they can all go to that record to see that every one of them is compliant, so they don't have to come in here individually. Makes sense to me.
That's not what's on the agenda. That's not on the agenda. I think we just need a motion and a second for the.
Well, if we word it the right way, then it's out there. They don't even have to request because it's already been issued prior to the request. She's a.
Well, it's 48 Belgium Way.
She's subject to a order of conditions who was issued to the developer. And the truth be known, the development, the condominium development holds the burden, and not the individual owners. Give it to the development, and they're all absolved. They're all released.
48 Belgium Way is in front of us.
Well, I said issue it, yeah. I just said motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance to 184 Belgium Way, if that's the number. And let's do something about the rest of it.
Okay.
So we don't have to do this again.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, Commissioner Christian,
All right.
Commissioner Donnelly, Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat, Commissioner Sailfield, aye. So the motion passes. Moving forward, we have an emergency certification that we need to vote on. 270 Westminster Street headwall repair. Joyce and I visited this with the gentleman, and it's our recommendation that we sign off on their certificate, on the emergency certification. There's some work that's going to need, there's work that's happening there. Is Nick still on the call? He doesn't need to know all, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Tracy, this is just to ratify the emergency order that we issued to Mr. Hillman to do the work.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to ratify the.
Motion to ratify.
Second. Thanks, Lynn.
This is Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Commissioner Sailfield, aye. And moving forward, we've got Unitil 45-day yearly operational plan public notice. Herman, do you have anything for that? Do you have anything that you wanted to talk about?
No, this is my first public notice for them. I don't even know, it's like I can do next time, if this is just a courtesy for them, or in the past, the commission has submitted comments. I tried looking for other comments, but I couldn't find anything. Did you guys review? That's the wrong one, it's the other one, it's Unitil. That was the agricultural one.
Okay, so, was there anything on here that were they in any jurisdiction?
I didn't see anything that was gonna hinder us. I mean, when I had a chat with the gentleman at Unitil, he said the work was pretty much pre-approved. But I didn't find anything within our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of that management plan and put it in the hands of the licensed applicant.
And the second,
Second.
all in favor, Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Commissioner Sailfield, aye. Oh, that was from, okay, here, then next we have the spotted lantern findings.
He's going down.
Are you okay?
Nothing to lose.
Let's see, this goes along, this reminded me, Oh, they want to treat them.
They want a tree. I think we should go ahead and let them do what they need to do. There's a form up attached to that with like questions, but I think we should do a formal notice telling them that they could just provide us with notification of the work that's being done. I don't think that they need our approval. They're not really asking for our approval anyways, but I think as a formality, they should be aware that we are always going to be in agreement if you want to use spotted lanterns.
Yeah. We have a motion to, what do you want to say? A motion to acknowledge.
Yeah, to approve any remediation
To approve any,
offered by MDAR.
to approve any remediation offered by MDAR related to spotted lanternfly.
So moved. Yep.
Beat you.
All in favor? Commissioner Christian?
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat?
Aye.
Mr. Sarfield, aye. And this reminded me, I was talking to Herlin about this. As you may recall, we used to have some education events, and I'd like to start that up again, and I'd like to have them come in and talk about the spotted lanternfly to the community so we can get the word out. People can see what it looks like. So if they see it, you know, what are they saying? See it, step on it, or something like that. This is a big problem.
I had one in my car in the parking lot
Oh my goodness.
here.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it. No, it was on my windshield and I was inside the car.
And the wipers on.
Yeah.
I think we need to, they need to get after those. But if anyone has any other kind of educational opportunities forward that we can support, I think we have the ability to do that.
Thanksgiving class.
Is there anything that the Conservation Commission can do to help remediate them or eliminate them, removing tree of heavens in public ways?
I think they did that already. Didn't they start removing the tree of heaven?
So many.
This is like the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla with the invasive species.
Yeah.
I think they were here last year.
They were, I think what Sean Michael's trying to say is if we can organize something on our own.
To that point, what do they use for monitoring device other than visual eye? Do they have traps?
I have no idea.
So that would be something you could either build or install or purchase traps and set them out there and monitor them. I mean, if that's what they're doing, mirror what they're doing.
It's almost like a double whammy or a double, killing two birds with one stone, removing an invasive species that's harboring an invasive species. Like if we have a budget at all to, because I mean, and soon we'll start seeing the tree that have been flowers, will be easier for us to identify these trees, right?
Yes.
Just a curiosity.
No, tree of heaven is.
If there's a way for us to start eliminating them from public ways.
No, I like that idea. There was somebody in one of the sessions, maybe Joyce was there, they talked about Friends of the Conservation Commission, 501c3 that got started. I want to say it was in.
Yeah, we talked about that in one of the sessions, that they got residents involved as, like you say, Friends of the Conservation Commission that helped do a lot of this work.
Sounds like that would be interesting. But we definitely want to support them in all that. And if you have any educational events that you'd like to talk about, you might recall we used to go with into the high school or the middle schools with Jeff and did some work there. You know, we can fire that up again. And then,
minutes.
Okay. Let's see. Can I have a motion and a second to accept them? Oh, wait, one more before we get to that. Commissioner Donnelly, you had a request at the last meeting and we had talked about it and I wanted to honor your request. If you'd like to make well, I don't think we need a motion for this because as you reminded us, it was at the discretion of the chair. But moving forward, the chair would like to see applicants and their principals in person. That goes along with.
At least for the first presentation.
What, yes, Joyce?
At least for the initial presentation.
That's fine. That's fine. If that's what the commission is interested, that's the intention of the commission, the chair supports it.
So I agree, but I believe that, Berlin, don't you have to offer virtual meetings for another year? Isn't that the law?
We have to offer virtual meetings. I think, we don't, I think it's more an accessibility thing. So if an applicant states that they need to attend the meeting virtually, I think we can address it on a as need basis, right?
I'm okay with that.
No, I agree
That
with it. I
excludes
just-
Mr. Erickson. He's welcome to join us remotely, as well as the DPW engineering, is his name?
Ryan, Kylie.
Ryan Kiley, yes. So, okay, so that's done. Motion and second to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of the April 29, 2023. Well, wait, that was the site visit, wasn't it?
No.
Yep.
Yeah. The motion and second to accept the minutes of the site visit of April 29, 2023.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Commissioner Christian,
All right.
Commissioner Donnelly, Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Commissioner Sarfield, aye. And then a motion and second to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of the February 7th, 2024 meeting.
I have a correction, please.
Okay,
On page 3, when it is discussing Mad River Solar, it shows that I recused myself from the meeting. But when the motion was made and seconded and the roll was called, it says that I voted in the affirmative. And there were 5 in favor, so that needs to be removed since I recused from that project and there were 4 in favor.
thank you, Joyce, that's a good catch.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Everything else looks fine. Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Commissioner Sarfield, aye. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting of March 6, 2024? Conservation Commission,
Motion made.
second. Commissioner Christian,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly, Commissioner Jacobs,
Aye.
Commissioner Tantanarwat,
Aye.
Sarfield, aye. Thank you very much, everybody.